Power up fall projects with Ego at Lowe's. Every tool delivers power beyond belief. So whether it's leaves, limbs, or lawn cleanup, count on Ego to deliver the power, performance, and innovation you need. And now for a limited time, save up to $60 on select blowers, chainsaws, and pole saws. Shop Ego today at Lowe's. Offers valid through 10/1 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butch-Chester. You guys know who I am, and you know what I like to do on my shows. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on a fire. And that's what we want to do today with our topic. We are talking about balancing your calling with career today. So, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. You know, we are talking about balancing your calling and your career today. And this is a topic that I find gets brought up a lot when we are in the situation where we're talking about our passion, our purpose, our vision, the thing that we do when it comes to our career. And how do we find this sense of balance, what I like to call a sense of harmony in our lives? And if it's coming up more and more, then that means that it needs to be addressed. So thank you for joining me for this particular day of the Align series that we are doing. And I want to really get into it as best that I can without, beating it up at the same time. I think that you guys are so advanced, and you really just need reminders. Sometimes you don't really need to go into all of the nitty gritty, but you just need to be reminded that, hey, today is a perfect day to realign, to kind of get back onto our path, and to just assess for just a moment. So today we'll be leaning into something that every leader wrestles with, and again, that is balancing your calling with your career. Now, I want you to understand that I am using the word leader here interchangeably for the various roles, the various capacities in which we operate and function. You can be a stay at home mom, a stay at home dad. You can be a CEO. You could be a paraprofessional. You could be an entry level employee. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you do, you are the leader. So don't let that word choice throw you thinking, well, I'm not a CEO or I'm not the leader of an organization or an association. You are the leader for what you're leading. You are the leader that people look to for your home, for your brand, for your business, whatever it is. However you lead, I am talking to you. So let's ground our conversation today in Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Now, to me, this verse is very freeing because it reminds us that whether you're preaching your sermon or you're running a meeting or you're going out for errands or even balancing the household budget, you're doing it for God. But here's the tension. How do you balance your spiritual calling with the demands of your career, with success, and everything else that's pulling at you? And that's what we're going to unpack today. The struggle of two worlds is very real for a lot of people. Now, if this isn't you, thank you for staying and listening just the same. You might be able to pick up on something that will assist someone else in your life. So many times, God uses us in that way. A leader who is able to gather the information and share it with others. Be it that it's an impromptu conversation, you bump into someone at the grocery store and start a conversation that way and you share this nugget of wisdom with them. Or perhaps it's in a more business setting and you're in a meeting and something needs to be said. What a great time to share your nuggets of wisdom there. Or perhaps it's simply having coffee with a friend and you were able to inspire them because of something that you have picked up along the way. With that being said, I want to make this as easy and as real as I possibly can. For many people, again, their calling and their career feel like two different worlds. Your calling is whispering, we should serve, we need to build, we need to make an impact, and all of that needs to glorify God. But your career demands are saying deadline, 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 crunch, 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 reach your goals, make the profits, make more profits, money, money, money. Sometimes these two line up beautifully, but sometimes there is a clash. And when they clash, leaders often feel guilty. They feel torn and they feel plain out exhausted. And that is where they start to doubt their vision. They start to wonder about the alignment of what they're doing. But here's a honest truth. Your calling and your career were never meant to be in competition. They were meant to complement one another. The key is not to choose one over the other, but it is to find harmony between the two. Harmony doesn't mean equal, it means working together in a rhythm. This is your business, this is your brand. Now, someone may be saying, well, I'm a stay at home parent. What's my brand? Your family. You are team, whatever your last name is. Team, you guys, right? So, welcome to the leadership world. You have been building your brand since the day you said, I do. Do not let this conversation just wash over you and think that you're not included because you are. Building a family takes time. Building a family takes dedication. The same way that you build a business. And what do we call our businesses? This is my baby. This was my vision. This was my thing. I birthed this because it took blood, sweat, and tears for your business. The same way that building your family does. So if you think that you're not included, you very much are. I want you to think of bringing these two aspects of your world, your calling and your career, together this way. Think of it like music. If one instrument drowns out the other, then you lose the beauty of the song. But when they play in rhythm, you hear everything powerfully. Calling and career can do the same thing. Don't allow one instrument to overplay the other. This is about making beautiful music wherever you are, whatever you do. So let's make sure that we are, in fact, in harmony. Alrighty, everyone, it is time for us to take a very short break, but when we get back, we will continue this conversation. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. When we talk about trying to balance our calling and harmony and career, I want you to think of it as harmony, right? Of how can we bring a better piece of music into our lives? Well, you guys know by now, I'm not just going to leave you out there. I'm going to always give you some suggestions. So, here are 5 steps to better balance or bring into harmony our calling and our career. And of course, they're going to be simple and practical because why overcomplicate life, right? So, how do we balance calling and career in real life? Here we go. Number 1, remember there's 5 steps. Number 1, define your calling clearly. Many people confuse their calling with career. The career is what you do. Your calling is who you are and who you're called to serve. Let me say that again. You may be confusing your calling with your career, so let's make it plain. Career is what you do. Your calling is who you are and who you're called to serve. Your career is what you do. Your calling is who you are plus who you serve. Write that down, right? And once you understand it, sometimes it's just not knowing the formula. It's not realizing that, oh, is that what it is? Well, okay, now I know, right? It makes it so much easier when we understand what it is that we're looking for in the first place. My calling is to uplift women of faith. My career is as a global speaker, as a empowerment coach, as a pastoral counselor, as an author, as a media personality. The career may shift. The career may expand. The career may have several outlets in how you achieve what you have been called to do, but the calling stays the same. My calling, again, is to uplift women and especially women of faith. Though, of course, the men folk can always listen in, right? Do you see all of those different ways in which I do what this calling has instructed me to do? The career may shift, but the calling stays the same. And that is true for you as well. What is your calling? And how do you walk that out in your life? So you may have been called to serve, to help people that are in medical crisis. And if that's true, then perhaps you are a nurse, a doctor, a dentist. If you have been called to help those that are in legal turmoil, then perhaps your career is as an attorney, as a paralegal, a legal secretary. Do you understand? Do you see where I'm going here now? Like when we understand what the calling is and really understanding, oh, okay, I got it. The career may shift as you age, mature, and also as your education may change. What you received your bachelor's in may not be what you receive your doctorate degree in. As you grow and gain knowledge and experience, you may start off as one thing, right? That's why they call it entry level. That's going to be where you start, but that's not where you're going to be in 20 years because you've gained so much more experience. You have a different point of view and you have learned, be it that you have formal education like from college or university, or you have gone to an academy, or you have simply picked up the things that you needed along the way. We have so many people that are in our workforce today that have had that job for over 40 years. They have been in that industry, in that realm for over 40 years. That person is as valuable as someone who has a master's degree, entry level. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Because that person has the real life work experience versus someone who only has the education but doesn't have any experience in the field yet. So, I want you to understand where you fit in. It doesn't mean that you aren't as great or as good as someone else. You just have to figure out, where am I in my path, on my path, in this journey of what I have been called to do, and how am I working it out? So, if you are in the beginning stages of your life, you are just now defining your calling, then do not put as heavy a weight upon yourself as someone who's 20 years in, who's 30 years in, as even someone who's 5 or 10 years in, because they have already gone through those growing pains of being fresh in the industry, being fresh and walking out their calling through their career. Point number 2 is, let your calling inform your career choice. So many times we find that in opportunity, it is not the opportunity that you thought it was. So be clear, right? Be clear in letting your calling inform your career choice. Ask yourself, does this career move, does this partnership, does this role reflect my calling? If it contradicts what God has spoken to you, then it will drain you, not bless you. Let me say it this way, and we've heard people say this: all money isn't good money, all partnerships aren't great partnerships, all that glitters isn't gold. Right? So we have to be really, really mindful and aware. Let me tell you something that the seniors used to say, and that is, you lay down with dogs, don't be surprised when you wake up with fleas, right? It's not that the poor dog meant to give it to you, but they've been outside rolling around in the grass, right? They've just been out there doing what dogs do. And that includes, unfortunately, getting a flea or tick or two, right? So, with that being said, if you are hanging with folks that are rolling around in the grass, don't be surprised when you pick up a tick or flea or two, right? So, we have to be mindful, we have to be aware of what it is that we are doing, and ask yourself again, does this career move, does this partnership, does this role reflect my calling? And if it does, how can I make sure that I continue to walk out the thing that God has spoken to me? Number 3, set boundaries that honor both things, not just one, but honor both things. Boundaries are where balance happens. Boundaries is where we find the harmony, right? Again, if we cannot be in harmony if one instrument is playing so much louder than all of the others. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a solo. If you are the only person playing and it is like a focus on you, then the focus is on you. But when it's time for everyone to come together as the orchestra, as the choir, then it must be in harmony. If not, it's in disharmony, which means that it doesn't bring about what we are trying to bring about. So set your boundaries. For example, I don't take work calls during family dinner, or I don't chase money at the cost of ministry, or boundaries are not walls. They are the fences that keep the right things in and the wrong things out. Boundaries are about our mindset, about how we make sure that what we're trying to protect, what we are trying to accomplish, are protected and accomplished. It is okay for you to be successful. It is okay for you to be wildly successful. It is okay for you to surpass by leaps and bounds. Please, by all means, it is okay to dream a huge dream. It is okay if God has given you a ridiculously large vision. It's okay. But just make sure that it aligns according to what God has given you. Number 4, it is time to integrate spiritual practices into your workday. Now, don't separate God from your career. Invite Him in. Pray before your meetings. Play worship music on your commute. Ask God for wisdom when you are facing decisions. Now, I could hear some of you saying, but Dr. Angela, you can't bring your faith into the workplace. You know what? Legally speaking, you are correct. But I'm telling you that it's happening. You know, your coworker that's over there in that cubicle while you're in your office, that coworker over there in their cubicle with their earbuds in is listening to music that is keeping them aligned with kingdom business, whatever it is that they have been called and tasked to do. No one else is listening, no one else can hear it, but they can. And that's what's keeping them aligned. When you are at your desk before everyone comes in, and you might place your hands on your desk and just say, Lord, lead me and guide me, that's your prayer. Or perhaps you prayed in the garage before you even walked into the building. Or perhaps you say an additional prayer during lunchtime that covers your coworkers, that allows them to be the men and women that God has called them to be as well. People are doing it. It doesn't have to be so overt that it may be um, uh, too much from a legal point of view, according to your workplace rules. You can always do something and do it with intention inside. You can always come in the morning and clean your desk. And as you are cleaning your desk, say and whisper a little prayer or just say it to yourself, right? Making sure that your workspace is good. Now, I don't mean clean like you're dumping the trash, but for some of us, we like things to be really tidy. So throughout the day, you may be just kind of doing some little light dusting, or you might be moving some stuff around, or you might be standing and looking at an award that you won, and you say, Lord, thank you for that vision. Thank you for that guidance. Thank you for my team. Right? There's ways that we can integrate our spiritual practice into our workday without getting us into any legal trouble in our workplace. Be mindful and aware. Do not do something that is going to jeopardize your position in that workplace. Ask God for the wisdom when you face decisions. And this is how our calling and our career flow together and not apart. Understanding that there are going to be societal divides and that there are ways that you can honor God and still be respectful what is being asked of you in your workplace. So integrate, but don't get yourself in trouble. Number 5, reevaluate regularly. Now, seasons change. And I love that God gives us that organic reminder. The season is changing. What is it that you need to do? How do you need to self assess? How do you need to reflect? The season is changing. What has brought you balance in the last year? What has brought you balance in the last 6 months, in the last quarter? What has brought you balanced in a particular time frame? Now, this might not be the balance that you need for today, or it might be. So be mindful and aware of what is being harmonious in your life, but also be aware of what is putting you out of balance, out of harmony. No one wants to hear the song that is not in harmony. No one wants to be around the person that is not balanced. Everything needs to be aligned and centered. So every few months, pause and ask yourself, am I still in harmony? Do I need to adjust my workload, my commitments, or even my expectations? Sometimes we allow our expectations to get ahead of ourselves, right? So you've only been doing this particular thing for a year, but you expect for the results to be the same as someone who's been doing it for 10 years. There's nothing wrong with having big dreams. Let me make that clear. We are working toward that, but the expectation may not be the same because you are not in the same place. So let me bring it in from another perspective. Neuroscience teaches us that when our work and our inner values clash, our brain experiences what's called cognitive dissonance. It's that inner stress when you want to believe, but what you believe doesn't match up with what you're doing. Over time, dissonance drains our mental health and it increases our anxiety and leaves you feeling exhausted. So there's a reason why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. But when your calling and your career are in balance, when they are in harmony, your brain experiences congruence. You feel energized, peaceful, and more creative. So, this isn't just about spiritual wisdom, it's also about biological truth. From a pastoral counseling lens, balance or harmony is not about juggling everything at once. It's about stewardship. Stewardship brings recognizing that God entrusts you with both calling and career, that you are not focused on choosing just one. You are invited to steward both in wisdom, prayer, and alignment. So, Sparkers, when you steward well, you don't just balance your calling and your career, you integrate them harmoniously into a beautiful life. Thank you, everyone, for spending some time with me here today. I hope that I have once again enlightened, inspired, and empowered you. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.